Right now, we also have a very special guest for you tonight. Jason Surrell, who is the senior show writer for Walt Disney Imagineering, is here and he's going to talk to you about the Haunted Mansion. And he also has a very special escort as well. Minnie Mouse! All right, so I'm going to leave you with Jason. There'll be some time for Q&A with him, and then we're going to go out to the park and have a great party.
Hello everyone, how are you doing? Minnie Mouse. Minnie, the Wizard Glendale. Thank you very much. I got permission to do that. Isn't that sweet? Minnie Mouse, ladies and gentlemen. It's a pleasure for me to be here with you tonight. I thought there was no better place for me to announce my candidacy. Do soon? I hear we're causing trouble again already with the election. It hasn't even started yet. As many of you may know, the Magic Kingdom will be turning 40 on Saturday. How many of you know? Magic Kingdom, 40 years old! We know this because it recently started dating a much younger theme park and bought a sports park. So very evident to us what was going on. I'm here to talk to you a little bit about the Haunted Mansion, which is also turning 40 on Saturday, and then we're going to open it up to questions for a little bit. As most of you know, the Haunted Mansion was one of the opening day attractions here on October 1st, 1971. It was also one of the easiest projects. At the time, Walt Disney World was obviously the biggest undertaking, the biggest financial risk that the company had ever taken. Walt Disney had passed away just a few years earlier in 1966, and as I'm sure all of you know, Roy Disney postponed his retirement to open the Magic Kingdom, and actually passed away just a couple months after that. So just huge moment in company history, and the Haunted Mansion was earmarked to be one of the opening day attractions. It was actually one of the easiest projects that was part of the opening day, and the reason for that is because when Walt Disney World was going into the later stages of development and production and construction, the Haunted Mansion at Disneyland was also working its way toward opening day in 1969. So basically, when they started building all of the props and set pieces for the Anaheim attraction, they basically made two of everything and put them in a warehouse, put them in storage, so when it came time to actually build the Magic Kingdom here in 1970 and into 1971, the Haunted Mansion was one of the easiest things to accomplish because it was all ready to go. So we had the facade of the house out there in Liberty Square, the big soundstage building behind it, and we just took that second set of everything and put it in, and the Haunted Mansion was actually done and ready in April of 1971, so they just locked the door and waited another 4 or 5 months until it was time for opening day. So it was really kind of an interesting piece of Haunted Mansion history for us. As most of you know, it's the only attraction to appear in a different land in every Magic Kingdom all over the world. Started, of course, with New Orleans Square in Disneyland. It was originally going to be a walking tour attraction, along with Pirates of the Caribbean, and then because Disneyland was growing in popularity and because of so many things that we learned at the 1964 World's Fair, it was quickly decided to turn that walkthrough experience into a ride-through. We took a lot of what we learned at the 1964 World's Fair in terms of audio animatronics figures and ride systems, and that, of course, is where we got the beginnings of the Omni Mover system, which was later used at Adventures Through Inner Space, and that, of course, became the Doom Buggy here at the Haunted Mansion. I'm probably telling you, preaching to the choir here, but I don't know what else to talk about. And then, of course, when it came time to open Tokyo Disneyland, Tokyo is virtually a carbon copy of the one that we have here. The primary difference is that it is in Fantasyland, and the reason for that is because in Japanese culture, ghost stories are lumped in the same category as fables and fairy tales, so we thought it was actually the best fit. Since we weren't going to have New Orleans Square, we weren't going to have a Liberty Square, so that's how it ended up in Fantasyland. And then, of course, when it came time to do Disneyland Paris, which opened in 1992, it actually ended up back in Frontierland. And the reason I say back in Frontierland is because in the earliest days of New Orleans Square, that was actually looked at by Walt and his original team as kind of just a specific neighborhood within Frontierland. So a lot of the designs that you can see in my book, which is available on Amazon.com. And at fine retailers near you. What is that, by the way? No, I know it's an iPad. I'm talking about the large neon green thing on your head. It's an iPad! I have to be careful with you people, because you like tweet in real time. When we were on stage at the D23 event in May, it's like we were being reviewed with each sentence. It's very unnerving. Even now, it's don't tick off the blog, people! We love the internet, don't we? I was kidding, it's a lovely hat. Is it a specific character? Is it like oh, it's the Orlando Magic thing, so like you run out and shoot t-shirts at people and whatnot. It's the same picture, no? You just keep finding it, it's like... Jason Surrell is turning 42. I don't even need to talk anymore. I can just come out. You're gonna keep filming, right? Just right? You gotta see down front. That's what I get. That's probably not a good idea in a room full of bloggers and tweeters and Facebook and MySpace and American. I don't even know. MySpace sucks. You heard it here first, folks. Meanwhile, just 10 feet behind me, Abe Lincoln is wondering what happened to his country. Our founding fathers are back there going... We fought the Civil War for this. These people. That guy. Can we buy him a new hat? I mean, I'll pay for it. Well, I don't even know what I was talking about, do you? Harris, thank you. Yes, Frontierland, yeah, we get it. Phantom Manor, right, okay. Do you guys know all that? Like, are you Haunted Mansion specific fans, or are you just, it doesn't even matter? Who likes the Haunted Mansion? Okay, well, this is very exciting. And how many of you have seen the new pre-show in the graveyard? It's really cool. We do have an opportunity tonight to tour the graveyard with the creative director of the experience, Pete Carcillo, and the show producer, Eric Goodman. I want to say something about Pete. Not many people know this because he's relatively new to Imaginarium. He's been here for a number of years, but he might be new to a lot of you. But when you're going through the cemetery tonight, I want you to keep something in mind. Not a lot of people know this, but Pete was actually an apprentice to Blaine Gibson. So as you are going through the cemetery and you see some of the sculpture in that, there is a lot of lineage at work with this experience. And like, I could not be more proud of him because Pete spent a number of years working directly with Blaine. And think about this, because this actually gives me goosebumps, and I don't mean that in a corny way. Pete actually took his designs for the enhancement that you're going to experience tonight to Blaine's house in Arizona and got them blessed. And a lot of the designs were either inspired by or somehow related to original Blaine Gibson designs, and that's something that a lot of us take very seriously. I was fortunate enough to be part of the 2007 Haunted Mansion enhancement, and obviously what we've done in the past year is the single biggest addition that we've made since then, and really since it opened 40 years ago. And a lot of us that are really doing our best to carry on the traditions of Walt Disney Imagineering take all of that very, very seriously. I was very fortunate to spend a lot of time with Ex Atencio, who, like me, is a writer. I got to spend a lot of time with Harriet Burns before she passed away in working on the book. I've been on the ride many times with both of them. And Pete, as I have said, kind of sat at the feet for Blaine Gibson for many, many years. So we really, really take all of this very, very seriously. We grew up with it like you did. My first trip here was in the fall of 1975 with my parents, who are actually here tonight. So we have a lot of affection, a lot of love tied up in this property. And many of us are going to be here on Saturday, dressed in 1970s clothing. So Just think about that for a minute. When did I turn into Jane Lynch? I'll be hosting the Emmys next year. But anyway, so I wanted to make that point because as you go through it tonight, I want you to think about some of the lineage that's at play here. We're really trying to honor the work of the masters, and it's something that we think about every day when we go to work. We don't have as much time as I thought we did, so rather than ramble about things you already know, I was going to open it up to questions if anybody has questions. And for anyone who has good ones, I have prizes in my pocket. They're pins. I didn't mean anything horrible, but you gotta have questions. Yes. Oh, right here, the pirate down in front. It's a puffy shirt. This is the new look for the 90s. You're going to be the first pirate.
I'm just curious.
Oh, you're supposed to say, I don't want to be a pirate! And yet, clearly he does. Okay, what's your question?
I was curious as to whether you had ever read Down and Out Magazine Systems and what you thought of it, considering how Haunted Mansion was.
Yeah, I did read it, and I was actually really intrigued by that. It's interesting because that it has obviously a huge futuristic, bent to it. I forgot what was it. What did I read Down and Out in the Magic Kingdom, and what did I think of it? I actually love it when people. It's essentially speculative fiction where they take things that are very known, well known in the real world, and kind of spin it into a fantastical realm. There's another good example just came out a couple of weeks ago, Ready Player One, which takes a lot of 1980s pop cultural elements and kind of spins them into a sci-fi realm. So yeah, I love stuff like that. Obviously, I'm a big fan of the Kingdom Keepers and what Ridley has done with the whole theme park mythology. I have pins. Yes. Here, take a pin. Walt Disney Imagineering pin. You can't buy that at Claire's Accessories. Yeah, we get that question a lot. I will tell you why that has never. Well, the question was, would we ever consider doing the Nightmare Before Christmas Haunted Mansion holiday here in Florida? I'm assuming most of you would like that. As far as I know, the main reason we haven't is because at Disneyland, the audience is 70% locals and about 30% national and international guest tourists. Whereas here, it's the exact opposite. It's about 30% locals and 75% guests from all over the world. And we have thought long and hard about this over many, many years. And honestly, it has been felt that we don't need to do it. And take that in the spirit I mean it. It essentially means that we have so many people who haven't seen the Haunted Mansion at all that we really want to present that experience to them. And then we have so many other things going on at that time of year. That we just have never felt the need to do it from that perspective, but you never know. Not going to obviously give an unequivocal no, because you never know what we're going to do. But that is the main reason. We have just felt that we're trying to present the original experience to so many people that haven't seen it yet. Yes. Obviously, well, Walt said something interesting that I'll repeat here. He said, we're going to let the ghosts take care of the inside, we're going to take care of the outside. So I don't want to talk too much about special effects and how we do what we do, but I will say that from the very beginning, Walt Disney Imagineering has been the fusion of storytelling and engineering, and that can mean a lot of different things, including technology and visual effects. So as we go into the future and come up with different ways to tell stories and different ways for you guys to interact with our characters and our stories, you're going to see more and more things like that, where we try to augment the experience. But the other thing that we try very carefully to do, and this is something that I think that derives from the film industry, we never try to do anything for the sake of it. So we don't just throw special effects around because we can. It is simply a tool to help us tell our stories. So any element, whether it's an audio animatronics figure or computer animation or a projected image, it's all going to depend on whether or not that is the best way to help us tell our story. So in terms of what we're trying to do at the Haunted Mansion with this current enhancement and with a couple of things that are yet to come, we decided that those particular tools were the best ones to help tell that story. But there is always very conscious thought behind it. Have a pin.
Jason, we have a question.
Okay, then I'll come to you.
Can you talk to me?
Yeah. Considering your love for the Haunted Mansion and the different parks and everything, have you ever actually worked as a cast member at the mansion?
Can we talk about how much this is freaking me out?
This is scary.
We got one of the hitchhiking ghosts.
Yeah.
Indiana Jones's cousin Shecky. and Mike Wallace from 60 Minutes. No, I have not actually ever worked at the Haunted Mansion. I did start my Disney career in the summer of 1989 as a skipper at the Jungle Cruise. So, right! You too? You're a girl. Rock on. When I was there, it was a whole different time. It was the Bush administration. There was war in the Middle East, economic disaster. You know, very different from recent times. But actually, that was something that I had always wanted to do, was to put on the suit. So you never know, because we have a little bull at Walt Disney Imagineering. Have a pin. Now, you had a question?
What were some of the original, we love the visual gags and effects that we see now. What are some of the ones that didn't make the cut way back when?
Actually, there are quite a few. The interesting thing about the Haunted Mansion is that there were so many stories developed going all the way back to the late 1950s with Imagineer Ken Anderson, who actually developed a number of different storylines for the attraction. So from that period and in the 1960s, Mark Davis has a number of concepts that never made it in. And again, I'm not shamelessly plugging, but in the book we do talk about. But if you want to get it, that's up to you. I'm just making suggestions. There are a number of gags and storylines that didn't make it in. Mark Davis was prolific, at coming up with gag after gag after gag. And so there are many, many things. And even in 2007, we came up with a number of different scenarios and storylines, and what we wound up with was, of course, the endless staircase and some of the other enhancements we made. But we came up with several dozen different scenarios for what would end up being the endless staircase. But at the time, our creative leadership at Imagineering felt very strongly that it should be an architectural addition, and that's why we have all of those staircases. And then we even returned to a lot of the gags that Mark Davis and Ken Anderson developed about ghostly footprints appearing everywhere. So again, we always borrow quite literally from the past whenever we do anything new, because we want all of these additions to fit seamlessly into the experience that's already there, and more to the point, the experience that millions of people around the world already love.
Jason, one last question.
One last question. Okay. I don't want to pick.
Well, you'll be at the horseshoe after.
I'll be at the horseshoe.
More questions we can get there.
Singing that my cabaret act will be at the horseshoe. So I'll be putting on my garters. And how about you pick? You can't get mad at Indiana Jones.
Someone in the back here, because we've done all front. Oh, this happened. Okay, there you go.
Hi. Now I feel like my question isn't good enough. If you were going to spend your entire afterlife as a ghost in the Haunted Mansion, which one would you want to be and why?
Wait, you mean as an existing character?
Yes.
Or could I still be me? Or no, I gotta be an existing character?
You as one of the other characters.
I think, honestly, judging by how I have become at cocktail parties at times throughout my life, I think I would be Pickwick hanging from the chandelier, because I think it's clear he's had some cosmos or something. He's just hanging on for dear life, dear afterlife. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with Pickwick. Either that or one of the hitchhiking ghosts, because actually those rock on, dude. Don't leave me in. This is the lamest thing I mean. You'll all be blunt, he's so street. No, so I'm going to go with Pickwick or the skeletal hitchhiking ghost. And I'm not going to use the name, sorry Pete, because the names are unofficial, but I will go with the skeletal hitchhiker. Who wants a pin? You want a pin? That was very nice of you. It's her birthday. This isn't the ale house. I'm not going to give her a All right. Is that it?
That's right. Yeah.
Okay, I will see you. Please come over to the Diamond Horseshoe if you have any other questions, because we'll be hanging out there for a while. Thanks for coming and trying to